Today we're talking about something pretty cool. How to transform a general-purpose AI into a razor-sharp expert. We're going to break down a process called fine-tuning, which is basically like giving your large language model a PhD in exactly what you need it to know. All right, let's get into it. So, you've got this powerful AI, right? It can do a million things, which is super impressive. But does it have that deep, specialized knowledge your business actually needs? It's that classic problem, isn't it? A jack of all trades that's a master of absolutely none. Well, that is the exact challenge we're going to tackle today. Here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about why you'd even want to do this. Then, we'll look at the different tools in your AI toolbox. After that, we'll hit the big one, the data problem. Then we'll cover some new, efficient ways to do this, calculate the real ROI, and wrap up with the risks and how to start smart.
Okay, let's start with the big picture. Why are so many businesses now looking past the standard, off-the-shelf AI models? The answer is pretty simple. They're looking for a serious competitive edge. Customizing your AI isn't a luxury anymore. It's becoming a strategic need if you want an AI that truly gets your world.
So, what in the world is fine-tuning, really? Well, think of it like this. You take a huge pre-trained model that's already graduated from college, and you enroll it in a specialized master's program using your specific data. This process actually changes the model's internal wiring, teaching it new skills, a specific personality, or deep knowledge about your industry. It's how we take that generalist and turn it into a world-class specialist. Now, it's super important to know that fine-tuning isn't your only option. You've actually got a whole toolbox for customizing an LLM, and knowing which tool, or which combination of tools to use is absolutely key.
Let's break down the big three. First, you've got prompt engineering. This is the fastest and cheapest route. It's basically just getting really good at telling the AI what you want. Then there's RAG, which stands for Retrieval-Augmented Generation. Think of this as giving your model a library card to access new external information so it's never out of date. And finally, there's fine-tuning. It takes the most effort, for sure, but it's the only one that truly rebuilds the model to be an expert from the inside out.
But here's the real pro tip, the thing you absolutely need to remember. You don't have to pick just one. In fact, the most powerful AI systems layer these techniques together. Just imagine it. You fine-tune a model to nail your company's unique voice. Then you use RAG to give it real-time product info. And then you use a clever prompt to ask it a specific question. That's how you build something truly amazing.
All right, we've talked about all these cool methods, but none of them, and I mean especially fine-tuning, can work without the one single thing that matters most: your data. Honestly, this part of the process is where projects succeed or fail. Just take a look at that number. 80%. That's roughly how much time your data folks should plan to spend just preparing the data for a fine-tuning project. It's not about the model. It's not about the algorithm. Your success starts and ends with the quality of your data set. You've heard the saying, garbage in, garbage out, right? Well, with fine-tuning, it's more like garbage in, garbage amplified out. Why? Because your fine-tuning data set is so much smaller and more focused. Every single error, every inconsistency, every bias gets put under a microscope. The model will learn your data's flaws and then serve them back to you with confidence. So, how do you get it right? Well, it's really a three-step dance. First, you have to define your task with crystal clarity. What exactly do you need this model to do? Second, you have to collect and curate really high-quality examples that look like what you'll see in the real world. And third, you have to clean, scrub, and format that data perfectly, usually into a specific structure like JSON-L.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds really expensive and complicated. And, it used to be. But some amazing new techniques have made fine-tuning way more accessible for everyone. Let's see how. The big innovation here is a concept called parameter-efficient fine-tuning, or PEFT for short. Instead of trying to retrain all billion-plus parameters in a giant model, PEFT methods are like performing keyhole surgery. They intelligently update only a tiny fraction of the parameters, giving you all that specialized knowledge without the insane computational cost.
Two of the most popular ways to do this are LoRA and QLoRA. LoRA is clever. It freezes the giant original model and just trains these tiny little adapter modules. This saves a ton of memory. Then QLoRA comes along and says, hold my beer. It does the same thing as LoRA, but it also compresses the original model's weights, which is just wild. It makes it possible to fine-tune massive models on hardware you might actually be able to afford.
It's not just about skills, though. We can also teach models things like style and tone. A really cool new technique for this is direct preference optimization, or DPO. Instead of giving the model one right answer, you show it two answers and just tell it which one you like better. By doing this over and over, the model starts to pick up on all the subtle nuances of your brand's voice. It's incredibly powerful.
Okay, this all sounds really cool, but it brings us to the big money question. Is any of this actually worth it? Let's break down the economics and figure out what the real return on investment looks like.
When you think about cost, there are really two main parts. First, there's the training cost. That's your one-time upfront investment to build your custom model. But the second cost, the one that really matters in the long run, is the inference cost. That's the bill you pay every single time somebody uses your model. And for anything that's high volume, that's where the real money is spent.
This chart tells the whole story, doesn't it? Look at the bar for the base model. It's high and it stays high. It's a constant, heavy expense. Now look at the fine-tuned model. You see that little spike at the beginning? That's your one-time training cost. But then look what happens. The ongoing cost just drops through the floor. So, why is there such a massive difference? It all comes down to token savings. It's that simple. Because your fine-tuned model is already an expert. It already knows the context. You don't have to send it a giant 1,000-word prompt every single time. Shorter prompts mean fewer tokens, and fewer tokens mean lower costs. And when you scale that up over millions of requests, the savings are absolutely enormous.
All right, so you're probably getting pretty excited about the possibilities here. But before you run off and start a project, it's so important to understand the risks and have a smart plan. Let's map out the road ahead so you don't run into any trouble. Look, there are definitely some pitfalls you can fall into. You might see catastrophic forgetting, where your new specialist forgets how to do basic things, or overfitting, where it's just memorized your data instead of actually learning. But the good news is, these are all known problems, and for every single one of them, there's a clear strategy to manage it, whether it's using LoRA or just being incredibly strict about your data quality.
The best way to approach this is in phases. Think of it like crawl, walk, run. You start with a small, simple proof of concept to just show that your idea is possible. Then you walk. You test it out in a real-world pilot to make sure the ROI is actually there. And finally, you run. You build a continuous improvement system. We call it LLM Ops, to keep your model sharp and getting better over the long haul. So there you have it, the full journey from a generalist AI to a true, bona fide specialist. It's a strategic mix of technology, data, and economics. We've laid out the entire roadmap for you. So the only real question left is, what expert are you going to build first?